What is going on, everybody? Bobbyfi and Eric Sheetsaber. We're going to be talking through this NFL Sunday slate. We will be live at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday as well. To remind you guys, which I keep having to. I'm in Texas, so I keep having to shift all my stuff. So sometimes the times are confusing me. But yeah, I mean, I guess before we get into it, I've identified 6 games. I know that's a lot, and there's one that's running away with it in terms of what I want to do this week. That's I guess my first thought. Sheets, anything you wanted to say, or you want to just get straight into the game by game?
No, we'll get straight into it. So a couple of announcements, and as I was about to make this announcement, I mean, I want to push back at you for part of this announcement. So we're going to be going to a different model very, very quickly. Where if any of you are watching this for free, I mean, it's just not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be a premium subscriber to access almost all of our content, honestly. And one of the things that we were considering just kind of grandfathering in for a little bit was the 11 a.m. Sunday NFL thing. And part of me wants to not do that either, just because there's like so much money that we can make people doing that. I don't know why I'd want to do that for free. But we'll talk about it. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through we're going to go through game by game. I did run a set of projections, and we're going to also kind of compare at least early looks between Saber Sim's projections, mine and Goldie's, to see if there's any real big difference. And then we'll do a build at the end of this, and maybe we'll do FanDuel. Also, definitely we'll do DraftKings. One thing to notice is that there is only 10 games this week, which you can look at it a lot of different ways. I mean, but fewer options. The thing that I noticed when I first looked at this was that there's not a ton of value. As is like the last couple of weeks, you've had this, the Manangai block, whatever it is, and whatever. And I don't think there's much of that this week. So I think people can go different ways here. So we'll go through game by game and see, what games you like the best, what plays kind of stand out. And I'm looking at the projections right here. So I guess I'll just kind of start off with.
Well, just real quick, just even to your point, though, I think that one thing that's interesting is like the top 14 guys are all quarterbacks in terms of point per dollar. So that means that you really don't have that much value, as you were saying.
Yeah, because that's usually the case. The quarterbacks are usually the ones that.
Yeah, but usually you get a guy who there's usually some 5K running back in there. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not any of them this week.
So right out of the gate here, I mean, it would seem without even looking at the projections, but obviously, and after you look at them, it's even obvious. I mean, that Rico Dowdle is probably going to project the best point per dollar play on this slate. I mean, he's clearly the best running back there, and they are a 6-point favorite at home against against the Saints. So I would imagine that he's going to show up as a very good play. Like, I have him rated right now as my top overall running back as far as projection based on point per dollar and my value score and things like that. So I can also imagine that my take is not going to be particularly unique. As you'll see, like SaberSim has them projected at 34% ownership right now. Goldie has them a little less, but it seems like a pretty obvious idea. The other thing that I think just might have come across the screen was that Tet was added to the injury report.
I did not see that yet. Okay.
I think I saw that in one of my Discord channels.
Yeah.
With like a hamstring or something. So that is certainly something to monitor. I don't know exactly what we'd end up doing with that, but it's definitely something to monitor. I mean, Xavier Legette would become in play. What's his name? Jalen Coker, I guess, would come into play. And the thing to remember, as I've mentioned every week, is that the Saints play at a very, very high pace. And it's not really Carolina's deal, but it's kind of hard to stop that idea. You know what I mean? If the Saints are going to run a billion plays, Carolina's okay. Then we'll get more possessions too. It's the way it's going to be. So I think Dowdle's obviously a strong play. I do show Olave as he's always pretty good with his with the targets and stuff, but I don't actually see him now that I'm looking at this. He's actually not showing up as that great a play this week. Sort of interesting. So for me right now, it looks as though mostly just Dowdle or nothing.
Yeah, I will bump up Chris Olave massively here. I really think that these projections are very, very, very conservative on him, and I just don't agree. You can't tell me without Shaheed that somehow his numbers should be worse.
Oh, that's without Shaheed. I keep forgetting, right?
Yeah. So and this is the first. So I'm just like, okay. So that's sort of my take on this is that's one guy I can manually change something on because I do think that he's going to get plenty of looks. And Carolina, I keep pointing it out to people. They actually have been good against the run, even though they've given up some big games. It's been like big games from touchdown equity. It's not really been that many big. I think they're like 5th or 6th in yards per carry. So I think that you beat them through the air. I think if you wanted to gamble and take a shot on like a guy like Vele or Brandon Cooks, that's fine. It's not like I think it's probably not in this slate for me. They're two cheap guys who Shuck is gonna throw it out there. I'm not playing him, but I do think that Olave is firmly in play. I'm not going to play Taysom Hill, but I probably will bet his touchdown thing on his own. And then you've got Dowdle on the other side, and basically the nut spot and going to be probably 50+% owned, probably in high buy-in 60 or 70% owned. That would be my guess, and I don't disagree with it. I just think you're going to get to some of them, but I really want to emphasize that I think Olave is a pretty reasonable play, and then the Ted McMillan would open up. I think Leggett would be my preferred, but I don't mind Jalen Coker either if you're going to go that way. And there's no way I'm playing Bryce Young even in this thing. Kind of a weird low score, low total, but and the Saints did play a little bit slower with Shuck than they did with Rattler. So I guess those are my things, but. Yeah, mostly it's Dowdle in that game, and then I will bump up Olave. I just still don't know how much I'm going to get of him, but I do think Olave is being a little underprojected.
A couple of other guys, now that you mention it, with the just the guys to look out for with the Shaheed out. I mean, you have Juwan Johnson, 3,700. He's probably, I imagine he's going to, I have him only at 2% ownership. I can't imagine that being the case.
It's just hard. There's a lot of good tight ends, and I don't really, it's not like he's
great. He's that great. And Brandon Cooks is on this team. I didn't even know that. He's 3,400. He'll likely get extra. Someone's got to get the run, right?
Yeah. You know what? Let me go back to the Juwan Johnson thing real quick because I like this point you're making, and I think I undersold it. So let me just say something that's absolutely amazing. So Tyler Shuck is a rookie. Okay. How about this? Juwan Johnson is 29 years old. Has been in the NFL for 6 years. These were college teammates. Because Tyler Shuck is the oldest quarterback basically who's ever come into the NFL. He's 26 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and he threw his first career touchdown to Juwan Johnson last week.
Dude, I like it.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's something. Okay, I'm in on that as being like an interesting play. I like it.
I like it.
And also, you guys. You know what? I tend to agree with yours and Goldie's projection on him a little bit more than I do Saberson. So that's another thing. All right, we're gonna have some exposure to that for sure. All right, Jacksonville and Houston.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of against the spread things this week, and I actually do like Jacksonville in this game. I almost wish that Mills was not in. You know what I mean? I think Jacksonville's actually, in a weird way, a little bit better than they show out there sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if I really have much of an interest in playing fantasy guys against Houston's defense, though. That's the thing. But if I did, I mean, Parker Washington looks good. Brian Thomas looks good. Etienne, he's been good all year. And I wonder how much Jacoby Myers is going to show up in this game, for Jacksonville. We'll see. On the Houston side, Nico Collins, I guess. I don't know. Just it feels to me like a game I probably want to avoid. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not an exciting thing, but I did want to. I mean, both defenses for sure in play, especially Jacksonville's. But the thing is, Brian Thomas is still officially questionable. But if he doesn't play, which I think is more likely than him playing at this moment, maybe Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers will look good. I'm not sure that I love getting involved in that. I definitely don't love getting involved in the Travis Etienne thing against this Houston defense. Houston's defense is like one of the best 3 defenses in football. So I'd rather not get to anything on the Jacksonville side. I'd rather Brian Thomas play, and then I could really not get to anything. But if he doesn't, it's going to be hard to ignore the 47 and 4,800 Washington and Myers. On the Houston side, the one thing that I think that I could sort of sell myself a story on is Dalton Schultz. I don't really want to make this a priority. I just don't love the idea of going for Nico when we have Davis Mills at quarterback, even though I like Nico a ton. So yeah, I mean, you could talk Woody Marks, but I just think I'm probably off this game mostly at the moment. I'd rather, there's just so many better spots. All right, Sheets.
I feel really bad for Aaron Glenn, honestly, because I mean, he coached like a great game against the freaking Bengals. They were behind. He went for 2 every time he was supposed to, and nobody thought he was going to. Okay, and Justin Fields just basically, is in save his freaking career mode right now, right? Yeah. And they pulled off a freaking miracle against the Bengals, and the team rewarded him by like trading their whole team. Okay,
right?
Like they completely announced they're in complete tank mode at this point. All right.
But there might be some security for him though in that, even like what I mean?
I know. And the thing that I did mention about that game though, which I was right about the Bengals at least putting up 1 billion points, is that I say this every week, but whenever you have a team whose main at least identity is defense, and it's always like the defense like getting all upset the offense can't do anything. Eventually, when the team gives up, the defense is the first place really to give up because, I mean, what's the use? You know what I mean? Like if you can't freaking, I mean, it's hard to play defense, and if you can't, your teams are not getting wins and whatever, the defense is usually the first to go. And they gave up 1 billion against the Bengals, and they lost Sauce, and they lost the other dude. You know what I mean? So I think we can do it again, Bobby. I think we could do Mr. Judkins again.
I'm 100% on board. I could not believe his projections when I saw them.
Yeah, I don't believe.
I understand why he's not to play. Like, yeah. I know he's been bad and for production a couple of weeks. I could care less. It's the Jets with all these guys gone, right?
Yeah, I don't believe a word of this projection. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'm so on board with that idea. I will manually put a minimum on him that is at least somewhat over the field because it's 6%. I don't like that. I just think he's too. I think it seems like a very good play to me. I'll put it that way. Anyway.
And the other thing, I mean, you want to talk about park shifts? I mean, the Jets going from playing against the Bengals defense to playing against the Browns defense, not good.
No.
I don't know if is Garrett Wilson back. I mean, especially if Garrett Wilson. Oh, Garrett Wilson's back at least.
Yeah, he's supposed to
a weapon or two, but I don't think I can get to much Jets here. I mean, Cleveland's just rough. Cleveland's just rough. So I like Judkins. I like Cleveland defense, I guess. And there you go.
I like Judkins a lot. I'm with you. And I think there is an argument to be made for Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
I don't love it. But my thinking is that, okay, so you have a team that, again, and I do this all the time, and it doesn't work as often as I'd like it to, but if you play man coverage, you're going to have a chance to get Garrett Wilson some bombs. So I wouldn't mind taking a shot, a swipe at that one. But it's just Judkins and then the defense, honestly, both defenses. But Judkins is the one I will make a stand on. I think this is I just think the projections are wrong. That's just my take.
Let me ask you a question. When I saw Garrett Wilson, I saw Breece Hall, and I saw this in here, trying to make a case to play the Jets. I can't quite get there, though. I mean, it's a 10-game slate, so it's a little easier, but I just don't think I could do it.
It's so condensed. It's nice. It's a nice, easy thing to do, right?
That's what I was saying. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know. We'll see. It may. I bet you by the time it's like Sunday at 11 o'clock, that'll be like the Millie Maker call again. You know what I mean? Like, stack it up.
It's going to be like a 7-3 game going to the fourth, and then like 2 breakout plays, and somehow these cheapies are all going to get there and win every somebody all the money.
Or worse, it's going to be 21-21 at the half, and I'll be like counting my money. Then the whole game will fall apart.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Final score 24-21.
That's fair. Also, a bad weather game, so probably a little more interested in the. Also made me like Judkins a little bit better.
Okay. This game is going to get some love, I think. The Bears and the Giants. Listen, the Giants games always get love nowadays. You know what I mean? Yeah. Jackson Dart's running around there with a chicken without a head. You know what I mean? Like always putting up points. Always, defense giving up points. It's all kinds of good stuff in Chicago with the Ben Johnson and all this. Caleb Williams gets played every week. I suppose. Let me look at the projections at least. I'm not really seeing anybody pop too hard in the projections. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson really 15% owned though. Can you really do that? I don't know. You'll have to probably try to talk me into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather play like 6% owned Theo Johnson, honestly, a tight end, than any Wan'Dale Robinson 8 odds at 15%. I just don't think I can do it. I do happen to. Yeah, I don't have much of a spread opinion on this game. I thought I was about to say I like the Bears in this game, but I don't know. Every time I say the Giants, they play tough. I thought they'd actually do a little better against San Francisco last week, but San Francisco, when they have McCaffrey and they have everybody going, it's kind of tough to deal with them. So I guess this game is like fine. I don't know, probably with the field or something like that. No big hot take though.
Yeah. You're going to get, I mean, Wan'Dale is going to be really popular. I like the idea of Theo Johnson. I agree.
Okay. Nice.
That's one I can get on board with. They look for him. He dropped a couple passes. No big deal. I'll go back to it. But I don't like, again, this is another one with weather. So I'd prefer to play the running. I wish they would just give the keys to Tracy while Scadaboo's gone.
I know.
And then we could play Tracy. And I feel very good about it, actually, against the Bears defense. Jackson Dart is going to have a big rushing game. I'm almost sure of it. Is it going to be enough to where he's going to be like the main quarterback for me? I don't know, but he's going to be one of the 3 most popular quarterbacks for sure. At least as of right now, that's what I see. Again, I'd rather play the running backs in this game, which means if we have DeAndre Swift back, we've got a real issue because Monange is going to get plenty of carries, and I'm not even sure that he's not the number 1 running back. And Swift has been really good. It's not even Swift's fault. They're just 2 different backs. I think they're going to split probably too much of it. So as much as this game looks tempting, I can't quite find much on the Chicago side that sort of I can tell myself a story of. Maybe a 0% owned Colston Loveland, rookie tight end who had a very impressive week and then ended the game last week.
He sure did.
That's something. But I'm more on the I like Dart. I kind of like the idea of reaching on Tracy. And I don't know what to do with the Bears because I'd like to get the running backs in, but I'm probably a little lower on that game overall than everybody else is.
So I like games like this New England Tampa Bay game from just like a football perspective, because like both of these teams, like nobody's exactly sure whether they're actually good or whether they're not. Okay. No one could quite believe that New England's good, and no one could quite believe that Baker Mayfield is this good, whatever it is. And I think that something is probably going to have to give in this game. My opinion is that it's the Tampa team that's the good one, and New England's not as good. That's my opinion. So I do like Tampa minus. It's almost like almost a sucker bet. It was like only 2.5. Like they're just betting you. Just say, oh, it's 2.5. Whatever it is. I do like Tampa here. I don't see how New England's doing what they're doing. I mean, honestly, but I guess Drake May is that good.
He's good, and they've had like the softest schedule in football.
See, that's the thing. So we'll have to see. I still have PTSD from watching Tampa just light up the Seahawks somehow. Yeah. So I do like Tampa. I like all the pieces. I like Baker Mayfield. I like what's his name, the wide receiver. I still don't want to butcher his name. But whoever he is, he's really good. Tez Johnson, 4,500. I would play that also. Play Rashad White. So I like all those guys. And Hunter Henry's going to be probably the chalky tight end of the week, I guess. But actually, no look at that as far as cheapos go. Now, Hamler's a good point per dollar play, but not really highly owned. But anyway, he's showing up as my best New England guy at 3,500.
Yeah, I have this game written down, and I guess I like Drake May. I like Stephon Diggs a little bit, and that's pretty much. I mean, Hunter Henry, I'm fine. It's fine. Not like excited about it. I'm not excited about it. I think these are all reasonable plays. I always would rather play this. We did get word, and SaberSim has not updated their projections yet, but there isn't. Oh wait, maybe they did update it now.
Ramondre?
They think they just updated it.
Ramondre Stevenson?
Yeah.
It just literally happened.
It literally happened while we're doing the game. Wow, how about that?
Yep.
So the thing is, again, my feeling about running backs against Tampa Bay, but they don't really have like a traditional. Travion Henderson is going to look like a good value play. I'll decide what I'm going to do with that on Sunday. I don't know right now, to be honest. Both these quarterbacks, I think, are totally in play. I'm not going out of my way. I'm going to get some of them. Cool. I think we got to keep riding this Tez Johnson train. I think there's something to this kid, and however, he's not quite as cheap as he was, but he's still cheap enough. And yeah, give me Igbukah. Why not? What is going on here? Like, this feels like I thought Igbukah when I first thought about this slate. I thought he was going to be like 30% owned, 40% owned, something like that. Tell me he's going to be in the 10 to 15. I'll give me more than that. I'll tell you that. So I'm big on the Igbukah. I also think Rachaad White is heavily in play. So I think it's the Tampa Bay side that really stands out for me. If you wanted to run a Drake May to Hunter Henry with the Tampa run backs, I really like White, Igbukah, and Johnson. And I actually kind of like Cade Otton. So I'm in on Tampa Bay side. I'm not as in on the New England side.
So before we go on, without giving it away, right? I lost track with what you liked. In other words, you mentioned at the beginning that there were 3 teams you liked, and one was kind of a runaway, or is it 4?
There's six games.
6 games.
This is one of the ones that I had, but again, 5 of them I feel a little bit indifferent about, and I can't sort of like this one, but I really like one that's coming up.
And let's review from the other games. So the other games we talked about, were any of those other ones in that?
Yeah, New York, Chicago initially, and then I saw the weather, but I don't know. So I'm a little bit more off that than I thought I was going to be. And then New England, Tampa Bay was the other one that was.
All right, so let's go on to this next one, which is Baltimore, Minnesota. I mean, it stands out as one of the higher totals, at least at 48. I guess I'll let you start with this one.
Yep, this is the one. I think this is a perfect spot. I know there's certain teams that I know better. I know the Rams better than most people are going to. I know the Ravens better. I haven't missed a quarter of either of these teams play, at least at full strength for Baltimore. I definitely missed some when we had when they weren't fully healthy. But I think this is a great. The Vikings defense being good is exactly why Lamar is an even better play than you think he is. They're going to get pressure on him, and I think his rushing upside is so much higher. Remember he played the Thursday game, so they've had some extra time off, and he had missed all the games up to that Thursday game for weeks. I feel like Lamar goes nuts this week. I think he's the best quarterback by far on the slate. He'll be my highest owned. He's way too cheap. I honestly feel like I could end up with like 50% Lamar this week. I think it's that big of a stand I'm willing to take. I didn't change a thing, and Zay Flowers I have 70% of. Wow. I do like Zay Flowers. This feels a little aggressive to have that much of him. Okay, whatever. Next up, we have the very interesting situation with the tight ends. I want to point out, I know Andrews caught the first 2 touchdowns on that Thursday game, but Likely was the one they looked for mostly through the game, and Likely actually had 2 targets in the end zone. They just didn't complete them. I think Likely is a phenomenal tournament. He's exactly what we want in a tournament play. Massive upside. Can hit a game-breaking play, but also will get his 4 targets and 4 catches for 50 yards on top of it. You know what I mean? You hit the bomb on top of it. I think there's multi-touchdown upside for him. So I'm way over on everybody on Baltimore. I'll probably have double the ownership on everybody, except for Zay Flowers, because he's going to be 40% owned or something like that, or 30-something% owned. I don't think I'm going to play that much of Zay Flowers. I think I'll have 30% of them. I don't think I'm going to have like 100%. And by the way, I'm not going to, again, you'd rather throw the ball against Minnesota than you would run, but I still am not going to cross off Derrick Henry at 6,800. I mean, I think he's interesting. So all of these guys make my list, but it's really going to be just an overwhelming, just all over the place with Baltimore. And I go to the other side, and look, I like JJ McCarthy a little bit. I don't know where, I still don't feel good about Baltimore's defense. They're getting a little healthier, but not quite. JJ McCarthy is probably too cheap and showed us. He had a rushing touchdown last week where I thought he was going to be sacked like for a loss. And he had like two guys with the angle, and he just sprinted right past them. I was shocked at his speed. I did not know he was that fast. So I like JJ McCarthy here. And I really like Justin Jefferson. I really like Jordan Addison. And I like TJ Hawkinson. So this is the number one game for me. If you want to get different in this game, you can play the Henry angle, you can play the likely angle, you can play the Rashad Bateman angle. I think that's all extremely viable as a way to get different. But this is by far the best game on the slate for me. Give me the dome on top of it. I really want to just let's let it go. I'm in.
Yeah, I like the game too. It's got a good total and all that stuff. I happen to like Minnesota in the game.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I mean,
you just think because they're home dogs?
I mean, they beat Detroit on the road. They got to have something. That's for openers.
They're NFC teams.
Yeah, I understand. And
I know.
Baltimore, I really didn't think Lamar looked that great coming back. And I'm still not particularly impressed by Baltimore's defense. I still know who died and left them a 5-point favorite in Minnesota. That's
Wait, what is Lamar supposed to do? What do you have, like 3 incompletions and he threw 4 touchdowns?
I understand.
What's he supposed to do?
I understand.
And they called the dogs off with like halfway through the third quarter. They just stopped throwing the ball.
So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. And then I got to remember my other against the spread play that's not on the slate. So we'll talk about that too.
Okay.
Just so I remember to give it out. Okay. But I agree with you. I think the game can put up some points. I think J.J. McCarthy is a good play. I think Lamar is a good play. Zay Flowers, as you mentioned, is going to show up pretty good. I just don't think that that Derrick Henry is just there anymore right now. I don't know.
We say the same thing every year about Henry, but it's almost December, Sheets.
Almost, I guess.
So there's going to be. I'm telling you, he's going to put up like 45 in a game at some point. I don't know when.
Yeah, I guess so, but not. I don't know.
But we're not playing him at 9K either anymore. It's 6,800.
That's true. That's true.
And we don't have, it's weird to say that, but he's like literally almost a value player.
Yeah, you know what? They'll be home against Cincinnati one of these days, and then you can do it.
We can load it up. Yep, I agree with that.
Oh, you know what? In week 12, you know where they are? They're home against the Jets. How about that?
Oh, geez. Yeah, there you go.
They'll be minus 13 points, and it'll be Derrick Henry get right season. Okay. Buffalo, Miami. Now, remember, Miami was very, very feisty in Buffalo as a huge underdog earlier this season. I think they lost by 1 possession at the end of the day.
It was a 1-possession game either way, mostly the whole game.
Yes. And I mean, to me, this is like easy stuff. You know what I mean? Like Buffalo's coming off the big win against Kansas City. They're going into Miami. I think Miami's total lock here, like against the spread. But with that said, I mean, Miami defense can't really stop anybody. I'm sure Buffalo's going to.
Are you sure that Miami might not have a good defense and they just might be really inept on offense and just the defense gets more? Because I've watched them play a lot, and like even against Baltimore, I thought their defense looked okay, and they kept giving up these big games, but then they also were like shutting people out. Like I just can't figure out what the hell they are. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. But I think that, like you said, I think Buffalo is sort of overrated. And I think that I think Miami can do some stuff. So I do like the A-Chain. I do like Tua. I like Waddle. The same dudes, whether they're coming from behind, or playing competitively. I think they're just kind of forced to get there. That's my opinion. So I as usual, I don't know who to play on Buffalo, except just Josh Allen. So I wouldn't know how to play that. You can certainly always play James Cook, but I actually do like the Miami side of this. Again, I think their game. I think the game script is just perfect for them, and they're two at home, like, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I actually totally. Those were my thoughts exactly. And I think that makes Josh Allen a really good play, and Shakir is going to be really popular. I think. I don't know for sure that, but I think he will be because hold on. He'll be popular until we get value opening up at receiver because there just isn't much. So Shakir is going to look like a pretty good play, and I'm okay. I think it's fine. I don't want to have the 40% that I got on my last build, but I'm okay with having 15 to 20 if I'm going to play Josh Allen, which I think I am. The James Cook of it all is kind of a weird situation. He's questionable. You might end up with the chalkiest running back, and it might be the wrong guy because we don't know who's going to get all the work. If Ty Johnson is going to look good, if he's out, assuming that James Cook plays, shouldn't he be like? I don't know. I feel like he should be way up there.
Yeah.
So maybe that lowers you. I don't know. But I think this game stays close enough. I don't think that it's going to be 28-0 at the end of the first quarter or anything like that. I do think on the Miami side, A-Chain is a great play. I don't know how to use Tua for tournaments against this Buffalo team, even though I think they've got some serious weaknesses in that secondary. I do not believe it's as good as people think, even though they looked really good against Kansas City. So I guess I will leave it at Tua, and I still like I'm sorry, at A-Chain, and I still like the Malik Washington play. It's 4,200, and there's not that much value, so that's why I like Malik Washington. But A-Chain is the obvious against Buffalo guy for me.
Maybe you could talk me through this one a little bit. The Arizona at Seattle. So this is the way I'm looking at this one. So, listen, Marvin Harrison looked great. Imagine, let's call it what it is. Okay, he looked awesome. Trey McBride looks good, and even what's his name looked good. Brissett, but we talk about. I mentioned park shift like earlier in this broadcast.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot. It's a hell of a lot easier to look good against the Cowboys than it's going to be to look good against Seattle. So I really like him inclined to take my shot at this game. You know, I'm just a little concerned that Seattle just eradicates them. You know what I mean? And Arizona shows up, so we're good, and we just went in and we beat Dallas and whatever it is, and they come into this freaking Seattle situation, and they don't realize how good Seattle is. And next thing you know, it's 21-0 like Seattle was in their last game. But even in that scenario, I think that those skill guys between McBride and Marvin Harrison are just kind of forced to get there. You know, even if they're, you know, even if it's garbage time, even if it's whatever. So now Jackson Smith and Jigba, I mean, you call it a tie, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to convince me anybody's better than him. You know,
sure.
You know, he could be tied with a bunch of people. That's fine too. But no one stands out as better than this dude. And so I'm gonna just, you know, keep playing.
Well, you buried the lead here. You could have tied it together, because but I don't know if you know that. But these guys, you know, Marvin Harrison was the supposedly the wide receiver 1 at Ohio State, while Jackson Smith and Jigba was the wide receiver 2. And somehow with all that, Jackson Smith and Jigba had a game in the playoffs to go to the title in the fight when they were down to 4, where he had literally, what did he have? It was 15 receptions for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns. So it's a battle of the wide receivers. I have zero interest in Marvin Harrison Jr. Somebody puts up a game against the Cowboys, it doesn't mean anything to me, personally. Cowboys, I throw it away. Cincinnati, I throw it away. Who's the other one? I think the Bears, to some extent, we can throw it away. I do like McBride. He's the piece I'm most interested in. And look, this is the projections are broken, or it's early in the week. Marvin Harrison's being projected too low by Saberson. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to get to him really much anyway. The one I do think is interesting, though, is the McBride. And I think this is my horrible take, and certainly will be on my if I play the afternoon slate, it will be my highest owned afternoon running back and will be in my big buy-in lineup. And that's DeMercado. I don't think that Donovan Knight is the starting running back. I don't care who starts the game. I care who they're going to run when everything happens. And DeMercado, like, literally had all of the work in the last game. I don't know why we wouldn't run back to this. And also, DeMercado's been in their system. There was a lot of like good feeling vibes out there. I don't think you could quite do it on the main slate, but he is 4,500. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't like the matchup enough, but I think it's the afternoon slate play of the day is the DeMercado is the running back, not Bam Knight. Even if you know, I don't care about who gets more snaps. I care about who gets more work.
I'll see you and raise you one. Okay, so okay. I think that the afternoon play of the day, and maybe even the classic slate play of the day, would be to play Michael Wilson from Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of playing the Marvin Harrison, because Wilson looked really good like last week also. Yeah. Now again, this is all against Dallas. You know, all you know, whatever, all disclaimers.
Yeah.
But I think that he's a great play in this type of game stack. If you play it, especially in the afternoon slate. So
yeah, I would be careful because Seattle's defense is incredible.
They're insane.
Yeah.
They're totally insane.
Yeah.
And even towards the end of that game against Dallas, even Dallas was getting to Brissett near the end. So I think this could be a rough day. I really believe that, but rough day. Maybe get a couple of garbage boys later. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it is a tough spot for Arizona.
Yeah, it's just I think they're in trouble. I really like Jackson Smith and Jigba every week. This week, I don't know how to get him in at 8,600 that easily. That's my issue. If you want to make that what you build around, I just think Seattle can win this game with defense. And that's what we see this happen. Seattle plays all these games, and all of a sudden you look up, it's like 35-0 at the beginning of the second quarter. Like they have these crazy explosions, usually on defense. Anyway, I like JSN in this game. I like Trey McBride. I think AJ Barner is starting to become the guy that he's going to be. But the problem is with Shaheed there, it's going to be a little tricky. Shaheed was cheaper. I might have some interest there, but it's just spread out with Cup. Maybe if there was one time to not play Smith and Jigba, this would be the week, just because you have all of this other stuff. You have Shaheed now, you have Cup, you've got Barner who's getting looks, you've got Arroyo who's getting looks. I don't know. So I like JSN, I like McBride, but mostly, and for the afternoon slate, I love the Wilson idea, and I love DeMercado. I think those are the two guys I could talk myself into for long shot plays.
Okay, so again, Sheets frisky mode here. So Detroit at Washington. So let's call it what it is. Washington it was a very, very bad scene for Washington in their last game. They got completely blown out from the moment the opening kickoff happened against Seattle. Not remotely competitive at any point. And then to add insult to injury, to insult, they left Jaden Daniels in for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
And he ended up out for the season, right? I presume, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I think they're trying to get him to come back at the end of the year
if they need it, right? So that's a disaster. Detroit, coming off of that loss to Minnesota, I'll just share with you. I'm paraphrasing, but I think it's pretty close. They are their last 10 losses that they've had. They were 10-0 against the spread in their next game. So on paper and all the trends, it's a nasty spot for Washington, especially with Mariota starting. So of course we're taking Washington against the spread.
Okay, you're going to go against the thing. I can't do it because I do believe that there is something to that bye week stuff.
Sheets ruled not a bye week. They just lost last week.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a loss. Sorry.
Yeah. So Dan Campbell gets mad and all this stuff. Sheets rule number one: all trends reverse the moment they're publicized. So I didn't hear about it when they were 9-0, but all of a sudden they're 10-0, and now we're hearing about it. So anyway, but with that said, I'm not playing anybody from Washington in this game. Just never happening. Detroit, if the trends hold and if Campbell is mad, it could be a pretty bad day for Washington. It really could. And
also, you're forgetting the big part is the revenge for the last year.
That's that too, and it's revenge for revenge sake. Also, it's like this is a game where if Detroit is up 28-7 at the half, that's just the beginning. You know what I mean? Like this is not a game where they're going to run out the clock. First of all, they like stepping on the gas anyway when they have a chance to do it. Mm-hmm. And in this particular spot, even given what you said about the playoffs too, coming off the loss, they can really pile this on. So pretty much anybody with the Detroit jerseys in play, obviously because it's a national mandate. We have to play Jameson Williams for sure. That's for openers. And then obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs, even Laporta, everybody's in play for the Detroit anger. And I really don't know what I can play from Washington, if anybody.
Yeah, I kind of agree with most of that. I really like Jahmyr Gibbs this week. And I think that he explodes here. I like Amon-Ra. That's the thing is the Amon-Ra Smith and Jigba is an interesting thought. Very similar. You know what I mean? That just throwing it out there. I guess I would lean maybe Amon-Ra because I don't know. It's close between those two. I like Laporta. and I'm always going to get Jameson Williams exposure against a team that gives up big plays. It has not been the year. They have not looked for him the same way that I thought they were going to. He had a nice week last week. He's cheap enough to where we can play him. Now, anybody else who's put up what he's put up would be like 3,400, but he's 49. But that's because they know as well that the big games can come. So I'm in on the Gibbs, and I'm in on the Jameson Williams, and I'm in on St. Brown, and really struggling with the St. Brown versus what's his name?
And unfortunately, it's not as easy as saying, "Oh, well, just play them both," because it's not that great cheapos this week.
You can't play put 8,400 in on a receiver and 8,600. Because I mean, don't forget we haven't talked about McCaffrey and Puka.
Right.
Like, there's a lot out there.
Speaking of which, so Mr. Segue.
Well, I've got to finish my Washington thoughts.
Oh, go ahead.
I do like Washington plays.
Ooh, okay.
I think that even if they get beat down, they're going to score points against Detroit. That's just going to happen. Zach Ertz, Deebo Samuel, those are the main ones for me. I think that's probably where I leave it. I don't mind Mariota, by the way. There's a lot of paths for that to work. We know that he's got like upside and Detroit can, like, even if Detroit beats him like 38 to whatever, you have Jahmyr Gibbs on one side, or 38, let's say 21 in a garbage time touchdown at the end. But Mariota is responsible somehow for the 3 touchdowns. He's going to have like 40 yards rushing. There's going to be something there. Anyway, that's my take. So I also do like the Deebo play.
I'll tell you something else with JJ McCarthy at a similar price. Who's going to be popular? You can get Mariota home somehow at 5,300. Mariota's going to be like 2%. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because you could play McCarthy at 4,900.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? So you're going to get Mariota at sub 5%. And yeah, like you said, I mean, like they could be running around. He could be running around like a chicken without a head. He's live for like 2 rushing touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like right off the bat. So yeah, sure, why not?
Yep.
All right, so I guess I'll ask you in this way. Since we talked about this game and derivatives of it for the last however many years we've been doing this, so is this going to be the 13-10 or is it going to be the 33?
No. This Rams team is the best team in football.
There you go.
They don't have any reason to play anybody 13-10 anymore. That was a weird Thursday night game that they literally, like, 2 fumbles at the goal line and 2 missed field goals coming off of the Eagles loss. The Rams should be undefeated. This is the best team in football. That's my take. And I do not think there is a 13-point version of this Rams team.
Well,
unless they're maybe playing like they had a 13-point on the opening day against Houston, but they've gotten better since then, and it would just take something very strange.
If that is the case, then there's literally no reason to not play these dudes. So, right. Puka's. Again, I just mentioned that. You can't argue that anybody's really better than Jackson Smith and Jake. I could say the same thing about Puka. You can't really argue.
Puka's the real answer, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you can't say anything better. Anybody's better than Puka either. You know what I mean? Like, the guy's insane. Not only is he insane, but a lot like JSN, maybe even more so. Like, the entire passing game is it's geared towards him. Not to mention the running game sometimes. He's live for a sweep every single time he's on the field. He's almost got like a 20-point floor. It's like ridiculous, So yeah, him. I was wondering if you ended up doing what you said you were going to do. Not what you said you were going to do last week. I don't know if you remember this, but like at the 11 a.m. show last week, you said, I don't know why, but Saberson has given me like 60% Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I did not keep up with it, but I did. I had more than the field, but not enough.
And he just went freaking ballistic.
Yep.
McCaffrey, fine. I don't know. I kind of want to make the argument that his matchups have been a little bit fraudulent.
Well, can I point out something about McCaffrey? First of all, I want to say something. Guess what his longest rush of the year is?
Maybe like 30 yards or something?
16 yards.
Yeah.
There's been zero explosiveness. They look for him I'm not saying he's not great. Okay, guys, I want to make this clear. He's unquestionably overrated. It's like crazy to me that people don't see this. Like, if you catch 10 balls and you go for 1 yard every time, you get 10 fantasy points. Or 11 fantasy points. Everybody thinks you're great. I think he's a better receiver than he is a running back at this point, and they're going to have to use it though. That's the only problem. He's just going to have so many targets. I don't see how he doesn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, for me on this game, yes. So I would put Nakua. Look, the Rams lost to the Niners on that BS Thursday game, so they need to win this game to have the tiebreaker. I keep saying that, then I'm like, do I think the Rams might not even lose again the rest of the year? It's possible. They're really good.
I really hope that I can rely on you for these types of Rams takes during the course of the rest of the season.
Yeah.
No, just because I'm in this real high stakes survivor pool thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to use the Rams at some point this year. Yeah. I've saved them so far, which is good. Nice. Right. And
did you happen to use Denver this week? Was that the team you used?
I did.
Oh my God, you snuck by.
Never in doubt. But so like the Rams, they have like several spots where it's easy to use them. Like they play Carolina in 1 week, and then they have like Arizona at home the last week of the season. But like there's a week like in week 12 where they're home against Tampa, and like right now they're like only -5 on the board. Mm-hmm. Like that would be an amazing one for me to be able to use if they in fact are going to win. You know what I mean? So like that's a weird matchup that again I'm kind of hoping this Tampa thing, either resolves itself or not this week. Like whether they're actually good or not, because I'd love for the Rams to just be like a 10-point favorite over the Bucs, who are proven to be bad, and just be kind of done with it. But I'll be talking about the Rams a lot the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the Rams are really good. Just the only thing I would say about them that scares me ever is that if anything ever happens to Stafford, it's going to be very, very hard.
Well, I wouldn't be playing them.
No, of course. I'm just throwing it out there. That's the only thing. But I mean, look, everybody's got their MVP favorites and everything like that. I think Matt Stafford is going to win the MVP this year.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why he's not on this. Like, he's like 7th or 8th on the list. I feel like he should be like number one. I don't get it. I really look at these odds, and I guess people are still at Mahomes like right there, and they're not even in the playoffs right now.
Right.
The Rams might be the best team in the NFL, and Matt Stafford has thrown for 13 touchdowns the last 3 weeks.
Right.
And this is a need to win game. I like the Rams stack. I like Nakua. I like Stafford.
I definitely like the Rams in the game.
Yeah.
And obviously like big time revenge from that Thursday debacle.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of into that also.
Yeah. But I do want to say that I think going right back to Devontae Adams with Nakua available is a good move this week. I like Adams, and it's going to be hard for me not to play McCaffrey. Like I said, it's just that I can't ignore guys getting like 10 catches. You know what I mean? But in terms of like, we think about spend ups, is he a better play is he going to outscore JSN, Puka, Amon-Ra? I don't know about that.
Right.
So maybe I do end up a little bit lower on him. I think George Kittle is my favorite game theory play. He's going to be low owned. This is the spot where they're going to really need to throw him the ball because they don't have that much other talent. You got Jennings. He and Jennings would be as the two. But I like the Kittle play quite a bit. So Kittle, McCaffrey, I think this is a good spot, and it's a nice slate where there are only 3 games in the afternoon, but 2 of them are excellent games to target for DFS, potentially. Detroit, Washington, and the Rams in San Fran. And that's what I've got. I've got my favorites are the Baltimore, Minnesota with a bullet, and then Tampa Bay side of the New England thing, Detroit side of the Washington game, and the Rams side of the San Francisco game. And that's sort of my main focus.
Okay, and the spread hashtag lock of the week is the LA Chargers over Pittsburgh on Sunday night.
The LA Chargers over Pittsburgh. What's the spread?
Like 3? Are you kidding?
And the Chargers favored by 3?
Yeah.
I'll just say one thing. That will be a home game for the Steelers.
I'm aware of all that.
It's 90%.
Yep.
Maybe higher. But I also think that it's very hard. These are the 2 teams I trust the least in all of football.
Coming off the Colts game, which I call pretty nicely.
You did.
Chargers are going to be good.
I just don't think either of these teams are really much of anything, to be honest with you. I mean, how about this? At 3-5 versus 6-2, the Ravens are still favored to win the division over the Steelers.
Yeah.
So
that is pretty insane, isn't it?
It's pretty wild. And they were 1-5 a couple weeks ago. Anyway, All right, guys, this was fun. We'll see you guys live 11 a.m. Eastern this week, where we'll let you know about what's going to happen with the content going forward, starting probably just to give our guys a couple little time. I'd like to say next week, but it'll probably take a little bit longer to get everything organized, but we're getting there. Anyway, good luck to you all this weekend.